you hear all the time, like niche down, right? So like, why don't just niche down on, the spiritual side of things, or the science, right? The body, right? Just the finances, but why the holistic approach? And do you find that challenge communicating that to your audience in sense of, maybe people hear it and they're like, oh, like religion, and they're like immediately throwing it away, or like science, like how do you manage that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the way I would answer that question would be this: life is not niche down. Life is not in individual pillars. Life happens all together, right? And so my faith influences how I interact with my family. My faith influences how I interact with my finances. My family affects how I treat my fitness and my food. Those are some of my pillars. Yeah. All of those things affect each other. And because life isn't just one thing at a time, life happens all together at one time. I feel like that. I mean, there's people out there who are spiritual coaches. There's people out there who are health coaches. There's people out there who are finance coaches, right? And so, yeah, I've often wondered, hey, maybe I should just go down one of these places and stick with that. But I keep coming back to this thought process of that's not how life works. Yeah. And that's not how my life has worked. More importantly, my experience is that everything is interrelated. And it's almost like a game of whack-a-mole. Have you ever played that before?
No. Is that the one that you're like, they pop up?
The little mole pops up and you whack it in the head, and then another one pops up. And that's kind of what my life was like. So I would absolutely be nailing the career, the finance part of life, right? But my family life was suffering. And so then I would focus on family. And I would try to be the best husband, try to be the best father I could be. But then I'm not giving my faith enough attention, and my soul is starving. And you see how that can work. And what I found is that if you really just dig deep down into one of those things individually, then something else is just going to come up. Yeah. It takes being holistic. Because life is holistic. There aren't, as much as we like to make it, there aren't silos to life. Yeah. And I'll use a faith illustration for that. A lot of times people, they try to separate their lives into the secular and the sacred. And so, they go to church on Sundays or whatever the case may be, and that's their sacred time. And then the rest of my time, I'm going to live the way that I want to. But what we see is that that's not really an authentic relationship with our Creator. Siloing that to one day a week. Really, where breakthrough comes is when all of these things come together in all of our everyday life. Yeah. And so, to answer your question, I don't double down on any of those one things, because my experience is that by doing that, you're sacrificing something else. No. And so unless you have that holistic perspective, which is kind of, when I teach my 7 pillars, but I don't teach them individually without first giving the vision of, okay, all of these things go together.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so that's really how I go about the thought process, the mindset of that.